Incredible waitress aids 80-year-old woman with bill discover the amazing hidden billionaire. Lily stood behind the counter as raindrops danced against the diner's windows. The cozy Midwestern diner buzzed with the comforting aroma of fresh coffee and the laughter of regulars. She knew their orders by heart. Mrs. Johnson always came in for her warm slice of apple pie, her silver hair reflecting the soft glow of the hanging lights. Today, though, was special. It had that kind of magic that makes you feel alive, even on a rainy afternoon. While serving the pie, Lily noticed the glaze of worry in Mrs. Johnson's eyes. At 80, Mrs. Johnson had become more than a regular, she was a cherished piece of the diner's heart. "How's life treating you today, Mrs. J?" Lily asked, her voice laced with warmth. And like rain trickling down a windowpane, Mrs. Johnson let her story spill out, worries about rising bills and how time seemed to slip through her fingers. Lily listened intently, each word pulling on her heart. Her own life wasn't easy. She juggled her shift, her mom's illness, and her younger sister's education. Despite the weight of her responsibilities, she knew that sharing kindness made every struggle a little lighter. The more they shared, the deeper their connection grew, two resilient women navigating different storms. But then, as Mrs. Johnson fumbled through her purse, panic filled the air. "Oh dear, I seem to be short today." Her cheeks flushed crimson. The world could get cruel at times, and embarrassment washed over her like the rain outside. That was all Lily needed to see. With a swift motion, she grabbed a napkin and tucked a $10 bill inside. "No worries. Let me take care of you today, Mrs. J," Lily said with a smile that felt like a warm blanket. The way Mrs. Johnson's eyes lit up, it was as if the sun had broken through the storm clouds. "You're too kind, dear," she whispered, gratitude shining in her gaze. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Lily couldn't shake the feeling that her simple act had stitched their lives together. Mrs. Johnson, with her soft voice and playful smile, felt like family now. The rain continued to sprinkle outside, yet inside the diner, a bond was blossoming in the aroma of coffee and pie. Little did Lily know, beneath Mrs. Johnson's humble exterior lay the heart of a hidden billionaire. She had chosen a life of modesty, valuing connection over riches. Impressed by Lily's generous nature, Mrs. Johnson pondered a scholarship fund for hardworking families could be a way to uplift those like her new friend. Suddenly, a spark of hope flickered. Could this waitress with a heart of gold be the partner she needed? As they shared stories, the diner buzzed around them, but Lily found herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, a desire to elevate her family against the longing to uplift her community. She stood at a crossroads, staring into the shimmering possibilities of life. With dreams swirling in her heart and doubts creeping in, she wasn't ready for life to throw new challenges her way. As the rain began to lighten, leaving a refreshing calm outside, Lily found herself at the door of the diner, deep in thought. Could she step out of her comfort zone? Would she embrace the chance to not only change her life but the lives of those around her? With hope mixed with fear swirling in her chest, one thing was clear: the next chapter of her life was about to unfold, and she needed to make a choice. Lily took a deep breath, the sense of coffee and pie suddenly feeling more potent. The afternoon light dimmed, casting shadows that mirrored her inner thoughts. She gazed out of the window, watching the puddles form on the sidewalk. Each droplet seemed to echo her heartbeat, rapid and uncertain. "Time to figure it out," she muttered to herself, her hands resting on her apron. The thought of leaving behind the familiar comforts of the diner, where every face was known, felt like stepping off a cliff. Yet, the image of Mrs. Johnson's face lit up by gratitude lingered in her mind, pushing her to consider what it might mean to take a leap. That evening, as the diner wound down and the last of the patrons shuffled out, the bell above the door jingled and Mrs. Johnson appeared again. She wore a wool shawl that hugged her shoulders, and her eyes carried a sparkle of determination. "Lily, dear," she began, her voice soft but steady. "Can I have a word?" Heart racing, Lily nodded and led her to a booth in the corner. The diner was now draped in the hush of twilight, a place perfect for secrets. "I've been thinking about what you did earlier. It meant the world to me," Mrs. Johnson continued, her hands clasping tightly over the table. "It was nothing, really," Lily said, brushing it off, but her cheeks warmed with embarrassment. "It was more than nothing," Mrs. Johnson insisted. "And I want to talk to you about something serious." Her gaze sharpened, focusing intently on Lily. "I'm grateful for the kindness you've shown me, and I want to return the favor in a way that could truly help you." Lily's heart raced. "What are you suggesting?" Mrs. Johnson leaned in closer. "Every year, I set aside money for scholarships to help young people who can't afford to go to school. I want to expand it, and I'd like you to help me manage it. You have the heart for it, dear." Lily blinked, her mind spinning. "Me? Managing a scholarship fund? You must be joking." "No joke at all," Mrs. Johnson replied. "You have compassion, drive, and a connection to this community. You could be the one to help others the same way you've helped me." Waves of emotion crashed over Lily. Could she really embrace such a responsibility? The thought of launching into something so ambitious thrilled and terrified her. "But I don't have any experience," she stammered. "You have what it takes. You know the struggles firsthand. You know how to inspire," Mrs. Johnson pressed. "And I'll be right here to support you. Together, we can make a difference." Doubt flickered within Lily, battling against the flicker of hope. What would her life look like if she took this path? The weight of her mother's illness and her sister's education pressed down like a heavy cloud. But the thought of elevating others drew her like a bright light in the darkness. "Let me think about it," she finally said, a quiver in her voice. "Of course, dear," Mrs. Johnson smiled softly. "Just know that sometimes the best changes come from steps we least expect. Life is full of opportunities, if we're brave enough to take them." As Mrs. Johnson left the diner, the reality of Lily's choices sat heavy in her heart. The storm outside had passed, leaving a soft lingering drizzle. She stood alone, looking at where Mrs. Johnson had just been, a million thoughts colliding in her mind. What would she choose? The comfortable life of a waitress, or stepping into the unknown, reaching for a future that could change everything? The question hung in the air, and as she turned the sign on the door to "closed," it felt like a turning point. Would she have the courage to transform her life and help others? Little did she know, an unexpected visitor was waiting just outside, one whose life would intertwine with hers in ways she couldn't yet imagine. Lily wiped down the counter, her thoughts swimming around like lost fish. Mrs. Johnson's words replayed in her head, echoing against the backdrop of the closing diner. Could she really step out of her comfort zone? Was she truly ready to shoulder such a responsibility? The echoing chime of the doorbell pulled her back to reality. As she turned around, a tall figure stood silhouetted in the doorway, water streaming down the brim of a broad hat. The man stepped inside, shaking raindrops from his coat like a dog shedding water. His features were almost hidden in shadow, but there was something familiar about him. "Sorry to interrupt your closing time," he said, stepping forward into the dim light. "I just saw the sign on the door. I wanted to grab a cup of coffee before I head out." Lily squinted, recognizing him. "Henry?" she asked, surprised. Henry was a local carpenter, known for his relentless work ethic and the furniture he crafted from reclaimed wood. He always seemed to have a smile on his face, a buoyancy that challenged the weight of life. "Yeah. It's me. I hardly recognize you without the rush of morning customers," he replied with a grin that melted the tension in the air. "What's up?" She poured him a cup, steam rising between them like a bridge. Just thinking about life and opportunities that could be lurking around the corner, she confessed, her voice faltering slightly. He lifted his mug in a toast. The secret is to keep your eyes open, Lily. You never know what might come knocking. She chuckled, feeling the warmth of his words wrap around her like a cozy blanket. The conversation flowed as if no time had passed. They discussed everything from the weather to their dreams. Somewhere between sips of coffee and laughter, Lily felt the weight on her shoulders lighten. If she stepped into the unknown, she knew she wouldn't be alone. As they talked, she noticed a logbook in his hand. Curious, she leaned closer. "What's that?" "A project I've been working on," he replied, casually opening it. "I'm looking for ways to give back to the community, you know. My wife and I before she passed were passionate about helping families in need." "Really? Like how?" she asked, her interest piqued. He flipped a page, revealing a sketch of a community center, a space where people could gather for classes, help each other, and find resources to lift themselves up. "We thought about creating scholarships at the center for local kids. We didn't want anyone to miss out on opportunities because of money." Lily's heart raced, the connection between their conversation spinning a web of possibility. "That's incredible," she breathed. I just had a conversation about something similar." "About scholarships?" He narrowed his eyes, clearly intrigued. "Yes." Mrs. Johnson. Before she could finish, a look of recognition crossed his face. "Mrs. Johnson? Oh, she's always been a treasure to this town. If she's on board, we might just have a real solution here." His enthusiasm sparked something in Lily. "If we teamed up together, could we really make this happen?" "Absolutely," he said, a glint of hope shining in his warm eyes. "Imagine the impact we could create." As they brainstormed ideas, Lily's prior doubts began to feel like distant echoes. She could see a clearer path emerging and even the possibility of stepping into the unknown with allies at her side. But just as hope began to swell, the weight of her mother's illness crept back into her mind like a fog. Would she be able to juggle her family's needs while pursuing something so important? Before she could voice her concerns, Henry's phone buzzed against the counter. He glanced at it, but a look of worry flickered across his face. "Sorry, Lily. I need to take this." As he stepped outside for some privacy, Lily's heart pounded. She was standing at the edge of two worlds. Was she willing to take that leap into the unexpected, knowing it could change everything? The door swung open, and Henry's face, usually bright, turned serious. "Lily, I think we may need to talk about this," he said, glancing back into the diner as if gauging a storm brewing behind him. Those words hung in the air, heavy and pregnant with what was about to come. Lily's breath caught in her throat. What was waiting for her on that other side? With her heart racing, she felt she was one step closer to a decision. But would the decision be hers to make, or would circumstances drag her in an entirely different direction? Lily's heart picked up speed as Henry stepped back inside, his expression serious. The way his brow furrowed made an uneasy knot tighten in her stomach. She leaned against the counter, sensing the shift in the air. "Is everything okay?" she asked, searching his eyes. "Not exactly," he replied, his voice low. "That was the hospital. They're worried about my mom. It seems her condition is worsening. They want me to come in." Her breath caught. "Oh, Henry, I'm so sorry." She reached across the polished wood surface, her hand just barely grazing his. "I'm grateful for your concern," he said, but there was a tremor in his voice that betrayed his brave facade. "It's hard. I thought I was prepared for anything, but this feels different." Given how her heart ached for her own mother, Lily couldn't help but feel the weight of his struggle. They were both staring down grief from opposite sides, tethered by familial bonds and uncertain futures. "I can only imagine how you feel," she said softly. "If you need to leave, I completely understand." We can talk about the community center later. Henry sighed, leaning against the counter, his expression shifting from worry to determination. No, I want to talk about it now. I need something to focus on, something hopeful for once. Lily agreed, feeling a rush of admiration for his resilience. All right, then. What's your vision? We start a scholarship fund, and then? His eyes sparkled anew as he launched into plans, every detail a brick laying the foundation of hope. We could set up a fundraiser, maybe hold a coffeehouse night right here. Local artists, musicians, it could bring everyone together. Parents can bring their kids, and we showcase their work. People love a cause, Lily chimed in, her heartbeat steady, the inner storm calming. Yes. Think about it. All of us pouring in whatever we can to support those kids. We can even partner with local businesses. She could picture it. The diner packed with warm, inviting chatter. A chance for dreams to take root among community members, sharing meals, laughter, and hope. Yet, as they spoke, shadows of reality crept back into Lily's mind. She couldn't ignore the mounting concerns about her own mother. That shadowy fear crept in once more, curling around her thoughts. Would her mother's illness weigh down her spirit? How could she balance both her family needs and the community project? The idea of stepping into action felt so alive, yet it conflicted with her responsibilities. What if she stretched herself too thin? Lily? Henry's voice was a lifeline, pulling her back to their conversation. Right, sorry. I'm here. I'm just thinking. He smiled, gently nudging her elbow. Thinking can be good, but don't think yourself out of this. You don't have to carry everything alone, you know? His reassurance was like a small sun breaking through clouds. Maybe it was possible to lift both her family and the community, thrive in both worlds. But then the door swung open again, and an elderly woman stepped in, struggling against the wind that whisked through. Her frail form stumbled, yet she stood resolute. Can I help you? Lily called, her heart pouring concern. The woman squinted through the dim light. I'm just trying to get out of that storm. My name is Edith. I need a warm coffee. As she made her way toward the counter, Lily's attention was drawn not just to her presence, but to the determination etched on her weathered face. There was something familiar about this woman, a resilience that mirrored her own. Of course, Edith. Just a moment, she said, racing to pour the coffee. Lily felt Henry move beside her. Do you think we could involve her in our plans? At that moment, her spirit ignited again with possibility. Absolutely. Everyone has a story, Henry. But as she turned back to Edith, Lily noticed a glimmer in the older woman's eyes. Something unspoken lingered there, a pull toward secrets hidden underneath layers of life lived and choices made. Just then, Edith's eyes twinkled as she leaned forward and whispered, "You have no idea the gifts this town can offer if you just ask." Lily felt chills dance up her spine. What did this woman know? What did she have to share that could change everything? Would this stranger reveal a hidden path, an unexpected opportunity that could tie them all together? Gifts this town can offer? Lily echoed, her brow furrowing in intrigue. The warmth of the coffee filled the air, but it did little to melt the chill running through her. Henry leaned in as well, curiosity painting his features. What do you mean, Edith? Edith's eyes sparkled with that same determination, hinting at a depth beyond her frail appearance. Oh, my dear, you wouldn't believe the stories tucked away in every corner of this town. Some are just waiting for someone to listen. Her voice quivered slightly, but the strength behind her words was undeniable. Lily exchanged a glance with Henry. They leaned closer, drawn into the pull of the moment. What kind of stories? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The elderly woman took a long sip of her coffee, allowing the warmth to seep through her. This town has seen its share of ups and downs. People with talents to share, dreams to chase, and yes, secrets to wealth that goes beyond money. Like hidden artists? Henry prompted, the hope bubbling in his voice. People who would want to share their gifts through our coffeehouse night? Exactly, Edith nodded, her excitement growing. There are musicians, painters, and storytellers. You just need to open the door a little wider, and let them in. Lily's heart surged. What if we could find these artists? What if we could tap into the stories of our community and use that to unite everyone? Yes. Henry exclaimed. That could be the heart of the coffeehouse night. We showcase not just the art, but the stories behind it. Each piece has a history, a voice. His eyes lit with renewed energy. Edith looked between them, her expression a mix of pride and encouragement. You may think you're just two kids trying to do something good, but I feel this is the start of something bigger. It's about connection. Lily felt an urgent swell in her chest. And we could give a platform to those voices, people who feel unseen. That's right, Edith said, her fingers curling around her cup like a life preserver. Sometimes, all it takes is for someone to ask, "What have you got to share?" Just then, a bell chimed as the door opened again, interrupting their conversation. A group of people spilled in, shaking off the cold. Lily's stomach churned with a mix of hope and responsibility. This whirlwind of excitement also felt layered with her own turmoil regarding her mother's health. As laughter filled the diner, Lily glanced back at Edith. What do you think? Should we ask them? Why not? They might surprise you, Edith said, her voice steady. With a spark of courage igniting within her, Lily stepped forward, heart racing. She turned to the newcomers. Hey, everyone. We're planning a community coffeehouse night, and we want to showcase local talent and stories. If any of you might be interested in joining, we'd love to hear from you. The chatter quieted. Curious faces turned towards her, and for a moment, she felt a sense of camaraderie wrapping around them like a thick quilt on a cold night. Then one young man raised his hand, grinning. I play guitar. I'd love to be part of this. Yes. Henry cheered, laughter bubbling from him. See? It's happening already. As excitement rippled through the diner, Lily felt a weight lift. Maybe she could handle both her family and this community project. She glanced back at Edith, who wore a knowing smile, a hint of a secret still dancing in her eyes, but then, as the initial buzz faded, Lily's gaze wandered to a corner of the room where a woman sat alone, her eyes glued to the floor, shadows of despair hiding her face. Not everyone feels brave enough to share, she muttered, her heart sinking. What about those who weren't ready? Invite them too, Edith encouraged, her voice both gentle and firm. Every voice matters in this symphony. Lily took a deep breath, a sense of purpose settling in. The road ahead felt much longer than she expected, but together, maybe they could create something beautiful. As she looked back at the newcomers, her mind buzzed with possibilities. Would they rally behind her vision? Edith, do you have anyone in mind? The woman leaned back, eyes glimmering again. You'd be amazed at the connections I have here and how this town can surprise you. Intrigued, Lily felt a spark ignite once more. What else did Edith hold? What hidden treasures were waiting to be unearthed? Her heart quickened, knowing this coffeehouse night could be more than a fundraiser, it could be a catalyst for change. But would she be ready for all that it entailed? Would everyone be willing to participate? Lily's thoughts raced as she watched Edith's knowing smile grow, feeling a deep sense of anticipation enveloping them. What gifts lay just beyond their reach? What would happen when they started really listening? Lily's heart drummed in her chest as she returned to the group of newcomers, their energy palpable. A palpable sense of unity filled the air, yet her mind couldn't shake the image of the woman alone in the corner. Who was she? What story lived behind those tired eyes? I know that look, Henry said, nudging her softly as if sensing her distraction. You're thinking about her, aren't you? Lily nodded, taking a deep breath. What about her? We can't leave her out. If we're going to do this, we need to reach out to everyone, even those who aren't the loudest voices. Edith caught up to them, joining their huddle. You're right, dear. Sometimes, the strongest stories come from the quietest souls. Why don't you go over and introduce yourself? With a determined nod, Lily started toward the woman, her feet feeling heavier with each step. She could feel her heart racing with uncertainty, but she took it as a sign that something important lay ahead. Hi there, Lily began, her voice soft but steady, like a warm breeze on a chilly day. I'm Lily. We're putting together a community coffeehouse night to share stories and talents. I noticed you sitting here, and I wanted to invite you to be a part of it. The woman lifted her gaze, and for a moment, Lily was taken aback by the depth of warmth hidden beneath the weary exterior. The woman's lips quirked slightly, though her eyes shimmered with unspoken burdens. I appreciate that. I haven't been part of anything in a while, she replied, the words carrying a fragile weight. I'm not sure I have anything to share. Everyone has something, Lily implored, her conviction surging. Sometimes it's just about finding the right moment or space to express it. We want to hear everyone's story, no matter how small. The woman hesitated, twisting the napkin in her lap. It's been so long since I've done anything like that, I don't know if I'm ready. This town, she paused, glancing around the bustling diner, it feels like it forgot me. No one is forgotten, Lily insisted, her voice firm with compassion. And the coffeehouse night could be a step towards reconnecting. If you want to join, this could be your time. We can't wait to hear what you have to share. With that, the woman allowed a breathy laugh to escape. It was gentle but echoed with a hint of disbelief. What if I fall flat on my face? Then you'll be in good company. Lily grinned, eyes sparkling with hope. We'll be there cheering for you. We're all in this together. Lily could see the softness in the woman's eyes beginning to grow. Maybe it was the first glimmer of something she thought was lost. The conversation that followed was like warming the embers of a fire forgotten, and for Lily, it cemented her hope that change was possible. Meanwhile, at the diner's entrance, the first musician stepped through the door, guitar slung over his shoulder, an unassuming hero. With every person that joined, the atmosphere shifted, filling the air with melodies of potential. Henry approached, excitement coursing through him. Look at this. It's happening, right here. He gestured at the bustling diner, laughter merging with the gentle clinking of plates. I think we're onto something huge. A rush of adrenaline washed over Lily, completely consuming her. They were building a community together, one story at a time. But as the warmth of connection enveloped her, another question crept in: was she equipped to carry the weight of everyone's stories? Those thoughts tangled in her gut as she watched the woman crack a smile. What if she was not just co-hosting an event, but shaping lives in ways she couldn't fully understand? Edith, what if we actually become models for them? She turned, unleashing a torrent of emotion. What if we create something that changes everything for people in this town? Edith's eyes twinkled, an unmistakable spark of encouragement in her gaze. You're taking on something extraordinary, dear. Just remember, the light you ignite in others can illuminate your own path. What lay ahead would demand courage and resilience. Could they truly foster the connection that ignited the town's hidden gems? As the laughter and music began to resonate, excitement mingled with uncertainty in Lily's chest. Would everyone truly be ready to share their stories? And what transformations awaited once they did? With hope hanging in the air, she understood one thing: this was just the beginning. A melody had started, but could it lead to a symphony? Lily took a moment to soak it all in. The faces around her, bright with laughter and chatter, radiated a sense of anticipation. Each newcomer seemed eager to share their stories, their experiences woven into the fabric of the community. Yet, a small voice in her mind whispered how vital it was to include everyone, especially those who lingered in the shadows. As she turned back to the woman, she felt a gentle tug on her sleeve. It was Henry again, his expression serious. Whatever you're planning, it's a big deal, but don't let it overwhelm you. You're not alone in this. Lily smiled, taking comfort in his words. I know. It just feels like there's so much to do. Start with one step at a time, he encouraged. And don't forget to enjoy the ride. This could be a special moment for us all. His sincerity eased some pressure, allowing her to focus on the warmth of the moment. She glanced back, catching the woman's gaze again, who was now watching the lively group with a more curious spark. What's your name? Lily asked, her voice inviting by the clinking of coffee cups and the sound of the guitar. Margaret, the woman replied, her smile radiant and unexpected. I used to sing years ago, see. Lily exclaimed, feeling a rush of hope. Then you have a story to tell. How wonderful would it be to share that? You could even sing. Margaret shrugged, her smile faltering slightly. I haven't sung in a long time. I don't know if I can stand up in front of people. Only if you want to, Lily reassured her. But what if this was a chance to find that joy again? We all have stories, and yours might resonate with someone else in a way you can't imagine. The shadows in Margaret's eyes began to lift, but doubt was still lurking. What if no one cares? Then, Lily replied, you've already started to care, and that's a victory right there. Besides, what if it touches just one heart? It's worth taking that chance. As they spoke, a few more familiar faces began to filter in, including Edith, who approached with a tray of cookies. I baked these for everyone, she declared, and the simple act brought a wave of cheer over the room. Laughter rang out, and for a moment, even Lily felt the uncertainty fade, replaced by something lighter. Margaret watched as the cookies made rounds, the sweet aroma heightened by the smiles that accompanied them. Maybe I could share a little something. Just a few lines, there you go. Lily encouraged, her spirit soaring. Whatever you choose, it will be perfect. The evening continued with more arrivals, the energy amplifying as music filled the diner. While Lily helped arrange chairs and grab instruments, she could feel the beginnings of something magical taking shape. The stories shared that night would be more than just entertainment, they would be threads connecting everyone in the room, yet, somewhere in the back of her mind, uncertainty prowled. Would they really come together? Or would hidden fears keep them apart? As Margaret stood, tapping a finger to the beat, something began to shift within her. The quiet strength started emerging, embodying life's resilience. Lily watched, filled with a sense of excitement, wondering just how far this night would go. Hey, everyone! Shouted Henry, grabbing everyone's attention. Let's kick this off. Who's ready to share? The crowd stirred in response, anticipation buzzing in the air like static. Just then, the door swung open, and in walked an old friend of Lily's, someone she hadn't seen since high school. The sight froze her in her tracks. Oliver? His eyes caught hers, and suddenly Lily felt a pull. What was he doing back in town? And what secrets did he carry alongside him? This twist opened a door to questions that sparked more than just curiosity. What ties remained unbroken from the past? Would Oliver's arrival change everything? As the night unfolded, the energy in the diner shifted, threaded with new possibilities, leaving Lily wondering just how deep each story would unravel. The moment Oliver stepped into the diner, the lively atmosphere shifted. Conversations hushed, faces turned, and excitement rippled through the crowd. Lily's heart raced, memories flooding in like the tide. Here was Oliver, her childhood friend, the boy who used to dream big under the sprawling sycamore trees in their small town. How many secrets had they shared back then? Lily? He asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. It's been ages. She replied, trying to mask her surprise. What brings you back? He shrugged lightly, looking around the room. Just passing through. I heard there was a gathering. Figured I'd stop by. As they spoke, Margaret observed from a distance. She bit her lower lip, her earlier spark of courage dimming under the weight of uncertainty. Could she really stand up in front of others? The resonance of potential stories seemed to echo painfully loud. "Hey, everyone!" Henry called again, his voice breaking through the thick tension. "Let us welcome Oliver. Who will be the first to share a story?" The diners seemed hesitant. Eyes flicked toward each other, unsure of how to respond. Lily felt a wave of responsibility wash over her. They needed a push, a spark to light up the night. "Oliver, why don't you go first?" she suggested, gently nudging him forward. "You know how this works. Just a few words." Oliver hesitated, a brief flash of vulnerability crossing his face. "I don't know what to say. I wasn't really expecting to share." But Henry stepped in, his enthusiasm contagious. "Everyone here has something to give, Oliver. Don't overthink it. It's about sharing experiences, remember?" With a deep breath, Oliver straightened. The pitch of nostalgia crept in as he recounted how a small town shaped his dreams. He spoke of ambition, of leaving, and how life had led him across various paths. The crowd listened intently, drawn into his narrative. As he spoke, Margaret's fingers tapped purposefully against the table, summoning her courage. The connection in that moment, everyone leaning in, hanging on each word, fueled her resolve. Then, in an unexpected twist, Oliver paused, glancing at Margaret. "And sometimes you find inspiration in unexpected places," he said, allowing his gaze to linger. Margaret felt the warmth of the spotlight shift toward her, a palpable wave of encouragement washing over her fragile hesitance. "Margaret, do you want to share something?" Lily prompted, her eyes twinkling with hope. The crowd, picking up on the shift, nodded. "Yeah, Margaret. We'd love to hear." Margaret rubbed her palms on her jeans, yet somehow, she felt a flicker of belief ignite within her. The faces around her glowed with kindness, an unexpected embrace of warmth pushing aside her anxieties. "Okay," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I haven't sung in a long time, but I used to sing to my children every night." "Go for it!" Henry cheered, clapping his hands together. With a deep breath, Margaret stood, a tremor in her legs but a steadiness grasping her heart. The first few notes escaped her throat, soft and uncertain, before blossoming into something richer. Lily watched in awe as Margaret poured her soul into the song, the lyrics like droplets weaving through the air, touching everyone in the diner. Without realizing it, she had transformed the room, the shadows lifting into the light. Applause erupted, filling the air with a mix of joy and relief. "See? You did it," said Lily, her heart swelling as the once hesitant woman glowed with newfound confidence. But what she didn't expect, Oliver murmured softly to Lily, was how this moment would ripple through every life here tonight. Lily turned to him, eyes wide. "What do you mean?" Oliver leaned closer, a smile dancing on his lips. "Just wait and see." As the night unfolded, Lily sensed that this was only the beginning of an extraordinary connection, one that would break barriers and reveal even more surprises. But what stories lay hidden within the other hearts around them? Margaret felt a rush of exhilaration as the applause wrapped around her, fueling her newfound confidence. With each clapping hand, she was reminded of the moments she'd spent singing in her living room, children giggling and dancing around her. This was different, though. She was no longer just a mother in the confines of her home, she was a performer, a part of a community that needed stories, song, and connection. While the lingering notes of her song faded, Oliver turned to Lily and asked, "Is this place always like this?" "Not always," Lily replied, her eyes sparkling with warmth. "But tonight feels special. I think everyone here senses it." Henry, catching their conversation, nodded eagerly. "It's about sharing, isn't it? It helps us remember who we are." His voice echoed like a clarion call, urging more stories to emerge from the depths of their hearts. What about you, Henry? Oliver shot back with a grin. What's your story? Henry took a moment, his enthusiasm giving way to a pensive look. Well, there was this time I thought I'd lost everything. A few years back, I went through a rough patch. I thought I was at rock bottom until a stranger took the time to listen to me. He paused, gazing around the diner. Sometimes the burden of life makes you forget how powerful connection can be, he continued, his voice thickening with emotion. We need each other, folks. The crowd was silent, each person feeling the weight of his words. It was a reminder that vulnerability could be a bridge, not a barrier. Suddenly, the diner felt smaller, more intimate, as if they had all traveled back to a simpler time when sharing stories over pie was the heart of life. Lily glanced at Margaret, whose eyes sparkled with fresh inspiration. What do you think? She whispered, sensing that magic was about to unfold again. Margaret beamed back, a fire blooming in her chest. I think we can all share a little more tonight. Just then, an elderly woman at the far end of the diner, whom no one had noticed until now, raised her hand timidly. I'm sorry to interrupt, she said, her voice soft but clear. But I've been listening. I haven't spoken much in years. This gathering, it's ignited something in me. I used to love to tell stories. The room shifted as the crowd turned, everyone attentive. The old woman's frail form seemed to carry age and wisdom, her silver hair framing a face filled with 1,000 tales. Please, Lily encouraged gently, her heart racing. We'd love to hear your story. The woman smiled, a glimmer of nostalgia in her eyes. I grew up in a different world, one filled with hardships and yet so much richness. My family struggled to make ends meet, and I remember my mother telling us that stories are what kept us afloat. As she began to weave her tale, the ambience of the diner changed. The chatter faded, thoughts replaced by her gentle, rhythmic voice. She spoke of joy intertwined with sorrow, of lessons learned beneath the stars, of laughter echoing through summer nights. Her story wasn't just hers, it was a thread connecting each person present. One still moment held tightly, the diner enveloped in the gravity of her past. Suddenly, as if drawn from a spell, applause erupted once more, a collective tribute to the vulnerability that had so beautifully unfolded. Margaret rushed to give the woman a hug, tears glistening in her eyes. Thank you for sharing, she choked out, overwhelmed with gratitude. Tonight has reminded me of the strength we all have, the elderly woman said, wiping her eyes. Even when we think our voices are gone. As her words lingered in the air, Oliver turned to Lily, a new seriousness dawning on his expression. Lily, what would it take for you to share your story next? I don't know, she murmured, uncertainty creeping back in. You'd be surprised at how much people want to hear from you. You might just touch someone tonight. Lily felt a flutter in her chest. What had she been holding back? As the evening continued, bridges of shared experiences were built one story at a time. The crowd was buzzing with excitement as hands flitted up eagerly. Voices bursting with tales of their own. But deep inside, Lily knew she was standing at the edge of a choice. Could she leap into the vulnerability that had been so present tonight? And what lay beyond her answer, waiting just out of sight? Lily felt the energy pulsing in the diner, each story weaving a richer tapestry around them, connecting lives in profound ways. How could she possibly step into the light? The thought tickled her heart, yet fear knotted her stomach. Would her struggles resonate? Would anyone want to listen to her? The laughter continued to ebb and flow, people exchanging stories, and in the warm embrace of the moment, Lily's heart filled with a burgeoning desire to join the chorus. Maybe tonight is that moment, she whispered to herself, tightening her grip on the counter as if pulling courage from the familiar wood. Then Margaret took the floor again, her cheeks flushed with excitement. How about we all stand up? She proposed, looking around with a glint of hope. If we're sharing, let us do this together. The crowd responded with enthusiasm. Lily felt the tension lightening, encouragement lighting up the room like summer fireflies. Henry beamed, gesturing to everyone, don't just sit there. This is your moment. The contagious energy catalyzed something deep within Lily. She saw faces of her fellow diners, all resonating with their stories, carrying silent burdens of their own. Each one deserved their moment of freedom. Taking a deep breath, she made her way to the front, her heart racing but fueled by the spirit of community. "Okay," she began, her voice shaky yet determined. "I'm Lily, and I'm a waitress here." The gentle nods encouraged her to continue. "I've been so focused on supporting my family that I forgot how sharing helps us heal." A wave of emotion surged through her. She could feel it, the vulnerability resting on thin air, ready to burst. "I worry constantly about my mom, whose illness weighs heavy on us all, plus my sister who needs every chance she can get in life," she admitted, each word flickering with the light of her struggles. "But coming here with all of you, I realize that just like the rain brings life to the earth, sharing our burdens brings us together." Faces brightened, listening intently, creating an invisible bond that tied them all. The truth in her words hung in the air like a comforting embrace. "Sometimes, we hide our worries, thinking they anchor us down. But we don't have to bear them alone. Just look at us, we're all connected." She smiled, the warmth blooming in her chest. The diners erupted in applause, but Lily's bright happiness blushed in her cheeks. Unconsciously, she reached for Margaret's hand, finding strength in the connection. "Tonight is about stories," she continued, "and it's about believing that your voice matters, like the way Mrs. Johnson's kindness mattered to me when she shared her struggles." Everyone nodded in agreement, a soft hum of understanding rippling through the crowd, solidifying the resolve in their hearts. "Let us make this more than just a coffeehouse night," Lily said with a fervent glimmer. "Let us make it a moment for everyone. Let us lift one another, transform tales of hardship into bridges of hope." The excitement in the diner crackled, fueling the collective spirit of rebirth. Edith chimed in, her voice quaking yet steady. "We've lived and learned. This town has countless stories hiding in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered." After a moment, Oliver raised his glass, inspiring a group of others. "To sharing, to connecting, and to being brave." The collective cheers rose like a swell of music, echoing through the night. Lily's heart soared, a rush of hope swirling within her. Perhaps all it took was the courage to unlock dormant stories buried deep inside. The gift of shared experience could flower hope in everyone. As the night wound down, the new friends pledged to revisit their dreams, fueled by a shared purpose. In circles of camaraderie, ideas about a community center blossomed, a space for everyone to gather, create, and inspire. Emerging from the shadows, the woman who had shared her story earlier approached shyly. "You don't know how much this means to me," she whispered to Lily, her eyes shimmering. "I thought I was alone, lost in the background, but this feels like a home I never expected to find." Tears welled in Lily's eyes. "You are never alone," she reassured her, embracing her tightly. Together they broke into laughter, embracing the warmth budding in the room. What had begun as a rainy afternoon at the diner illuminated pathways to potential, connection, and transformation. They had started something beautiful, a community woven together through stories, but the discovery hadn't ended there. Lily looked deeper into the eyes of those around her, covered in hope, knowing this was only the beginning. With each shared experience and each message sent out, the call began inviting new voices to join their movement, propelling them into the future. Stepping outside into the cool night, the air felt different, charged with possibility. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with hope as their anchor, they would discover what it meant to be true companions on this unpredictable journey called life. Now, as they stood together under the twinkling stars, Lily felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. They had shared themselves, and that would ripple out into the world beyond, and as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, tinged with orange and gold, it promised the world knew who might be waiting to tell their stories next. As you've just witnessed, life is shaped by connection and transformation. You need to subscribe now to join us on this journey. All voices matter, and you can be a part of that. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and inspire more stories. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share what stories you feel resonate with you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.